Support for this podcast comes from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative, connecting communities with the resources, infrastructure, and networks to ensure a vibrant local free press.
From KVPR in Fresno, this is Central Valley Daily. It's Thursday, February 6th. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Coming up, why faculty members at Madera Community College had to walk back from a new kind of academic program.
There's so many unknowns that needed to be worked out, and it just wasn't happening, that they decided, the two original faculty who were involved, they decided to step away.
We speak with the president of the Academic Senate on what happened and why it's pitted faculty and administration against one another. But first, these headlines. President Donald Trump is now going after California's high-speed rail. The president this week called for an investigation into the rail's development. It comes just after the state's inspector general revealed that the first phase of the rail may not be complete by 2033. The rail would cross through Fresno. Mayor Jerry Dyer told local news outlets he shares Trump's questions on the delays, but he said he doesn't think scrapping the rail is a good idea. The city of Fresno has won a lawsuit that challenged its effort to rename a city street after civil rights activist Cesar Chavez. As KVPR's Rachel Livenall reports, it was one challenge in a decades-long effort.
The city was sued by a coalition of businesses and residents called One Community Compact, but the judge in the case ruled that the city ultimately has the power and authority to decide the names of streets. The lawsuit was one of many challenges that sought to prevent the renaming. Cesar Chavez Boulevard took over former street names like California and Ventura Avenues and Kings Canyon Road. The idea to name a street after Chavez was first introduced in the 1990s. The Fresno County Board of Supervisors also stood against it. All streets have replaced their signs, and most businesses along the corridor have updated their addresses with the new street name. For KVPR News, I'm Rachel Livenall.
Some residents in the city of Clovis want the city to become a, quote, non-sanctuary city. It comes after the city's mayor pro tem, Diane Pierce, asked if the city should designate itself as such. A sanctuary city refers to cities who do not actively engage with immigration officials. Clovis resident John Girodi is among those who think Clovis should go a different direction.
I think if Clovis police, in their work, come across someone with a long rap sheet who isn't in the country legally, they should have the latitude to be able to communicate with federal immigration authorities.
The proposal has yet to make its way to a formal city vote. The California State University system will soon feature more artificial intelligence in its classrooms. Officials said this week the public college system is partnering with companies like Adobe and OpenAI. The partnership will provide AI tools to assist in teaching and learning at all CSU campuses. The initiative is the first of its kind. The CSU is also the country's largest public four-year university system.
KVPR's vehicle donation program brings in thousands of dollars each month to support the news and information you rely on. If you've got a car, truck, motorcycle, or boat you're no longer using, please consider donating it. The process is easy. We'll tow it away free of charge, KVPR gets a check, and you'll get a receipt for your taxes. Find out more at kvpr.org/cars or call 855-277-2346.
And now to our main story. Imagine a college course with no class time, no grades, and no semesters. This kind of program exists. It's called Competency-based education, or CBE, and has been met with success in some states. But an attempt to implement this unconventional program here in the Valley at Madera Community College has put the faculty and administration at odds. While college faculty originally pursued this approach in their business administration program, CBE coursework never materialized. So faculty withdrew their efforts, citing their need for more support from the administration. It's one reason the college's academic senate recently passed a vote of no confidence for its president. Here with more is Lynette Cortez Howden. She's a math professor at the campus and president of the academic senate. I spoke with Lynette about the campus's effort to implement CBE and where things went awry. She starts us off by explaining CBE.
Competency-based education is really just a brand new teaching model where it basically does away with the traditional class or course hours, where instead of a class where students do coursework and do assessments during their class and get grades, and et cetera, instead, can a student show their mastery by assessing these competencies like on their own time? It could be where a student will sit down and take this assessment and they pass through all of the competencies in a day's work. Or it could be that they get stuck and it takes them a few weeks, a month, a year. Literally, there's no clock hour attached to it.
Okay, and they don't receive grades, right? And they don't have to attend class, I believe?
They don't receive the traditional grades where you and I might be used to like an A, B, C, D, F kind of model. This instead gives mastery or no mastery. So there's like an M plus even, like advanced mastery, or just no mastery or no pass. That would essentially be the outcome of a competency-based education course. And you're right, they don't like come in and they don't sit in a class. Most of the CBE models that I've seen, it's a module that it's self-paced. The student can kind of walk themselves through it on their own. And when they feel that they're ready, they would take the assessment.
So how was this competency-based education model introduced to Madera Community College?
So there was a business administration faculty member here at Madera, but he led the way in the sense that, he was approached by, I believe, the dean at that time and said, hey, there's an interesting model program that, we want to look into. At the time, it was described to the faculty member as basically an accelerated course. And that's why the faculty member was very interested, because he teaches online for business administration. And in his mind, he's like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, why have them in there for 18 weeks if they can be done in 9 weeks or 6 weeks or whatnot? As he learned more about the model, he realized that it wasn't that simple, that it is not an accelerated online course. Instead, it's a brand new model where they have to take that direct assessment, like I mentioned. The assumption is that the student will do that work on their own, and we're almost facilitators versus instructors of the course. So we can help facilitate them through the module, but we're supposed to stick to that and not give them any kind of other help, which, as you can imagine, is incredibly difficult to do as an instructor. The workload, though, was starting to become too much. So he asked for help, and he got another faculty member. She's the one that really came in there and said, okay, we needed to contact the admissions and records office. We need to get financial aid people in here. We need to get IT in the room, because this is such a big, drastic, flip everything over, right? Kind of a teaching model. There's so many unknowns that needed to be worked out, and it just wasn't happening, that they decided, the two original faculty who were involved, they decided to step away. And they sought the help of the Academic Senate to do so.
Faculty at Madera Community College are opposed to CBE, including yourself. Why is that?
That's a great question. So we're opposed to continuing the work of implementing CBE without the wraparound support, without that leadership at the higher level that we need in terms of like our administration, and without getting full faculty buy-in. So in California, we practice a participatory governance model, which means that if you want to implement something this big, you need buy-in from faculty, you need buy-in from students, you need buy-in from our classified folks. Think of your financial aid, your admission and records people. We felt that was incredibly lacking. And the problem with that is that this is where the miscommunication happens. This is where we're not able to implement a model the way that it should be to do like what's best for our students, because we don't have that wraparound support. It's almost setting it up to fail.
Where did CBE come from? Is this a new statewide initiative?
Other states have tried CBE, and they have had success in a very specific type of CBE model. So I'm thinking of states like Colorado, Wisconsin. The success that they've seen is largely at private institutions for students that were adult learners that were already working in the field of their expertise, but just didn't have officially like a bachelor's or whatnot, didn't have that degree. So they were already doing the work, They just didn't have the transcripts to kind of back it up. That's where CBE came in and said, okay, we're not going to have you sit through an 18-week accounting course when you've been an accountant for 20 years. And they did have a lot of success. And I believe they still do, again, in those states. A little bit different from our demographics and our population that we serve here in Madera. We don't see those adult learners that are already working in that discipline and have the money perhaps to pay for a course to just take a test and do it. We're not serving that type of population, and we didn't really see that. Not to say that our population doesn't have a lot of knowledge that they're already bringing. It's just the reality is different than the model where it worked in other states. Plus, in California, we have bargaining units. There's a lot of other legislation laws that we fall under. Our Title V regulations are very, very different than in other states.
The president of Madera Community College, Angel Reyna, told our news partner Cal Matters that several other colleges are moving forward with this approach, but, quote, for whatever reason, our folks don't want to. It's probably worth noting, as we might have discussed, that Madera's Academic Senate, which you lead, did pass a vote of no confidence of President Reyna just a couple months ago. So is this all related to this competency-based education effort?
Absolutely, it is. At its core, the CBE issue is really a participatory governance issue and a leadership issue. It just came about with CBE, but it could have been with any program, really. Any new program that was to be implemented without consultation, without buy-in from different groups, which is ultimately, again, why the faculty members chose to step away from it.
In light of all these happenings on campus, what are the next steps for the business administration program and CBE in general?
It's hard to say. Our resolution hasn't changed, and it's active in the sense that our stance is still the same, that any further involvement or work on CBE should be vetted through the Academic Senate first. We're essentially just asking to, follow our participatory governance processes. The two original faculty members that were doing the work, they have stepped away and they have not shown any interest to continue or to resume. That's not to say that another faculty member could see and just pick up where they left off, but that has yet to happen.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Our faculty at Madera, we really do care about our students, and we really went into this, speaking for the two faculty members originally, they really went into it with the best intentions in mind of trying to find different models, different solutions to the problems, the circumstances that our students are facing. I don't want this to be misconstrued as something that we don't want to necessarily try. It's more so that we were willing, but we just weren't able to bring it about, unfortunately, because there's only so much one faculty or two faculty members could do.
That was Lynette Cortez Howden, mathematics professor and president of the Madera Community College Academic Senate. Thanks for joining me, Lynette.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's today's show. Today is Central Valley Daily's 100th episode, and we wanted to thank you for your support of the show. We also want to give a shout out to our KVPR news team, Crescencio Rodriguez Delgado, Carrie Klein, Joshua Yeager, and Rachel Livenall, who play a critical role in helping put together our newscasts every day. Today's episode was produced by Jonathan Linden, Carrie Klein, and KVPR, with support from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Find the latest local news anytime at kvpr.org.
Each morning, it's a new opportunity, a chance to start fresh. Up First from NPR makes each morning an opportunity to learn and to understand. Choose to join the world every morning with Up First, a podcast that hands you everything going on across the globe and down the street, all in 15 minutes or less. Start your day informed and anew with Up First by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts.